Welcome to On the Go Gyan, your pocket dose of podcast Gyan. My name is Rohit,
I am Ajay.
and in this episode, we are going to talk about communication styles.
So as I was telling you, this is my first recording on iOS 14 and it's a lossless recording.
Finally, lossless. But why are you such a big fan of iOS 14?
iOS 14 is good because, I don't know, it gives a new look to your iPhone, which I'm not a fan of, but anyway, it's good.
You realize Android has always had this, like forever.
I know. Android has had that for a very long time, but iOS users have been kind of set to this trend, and when you throw all of these, people don't look at it as a gift. That's what my thought is.
Admit it, Apple is just playing catch up.
Just like something that they are obliged to do. I don't know why.
They are obliged to because they have to expand their market. I get it. See, what Apple has its own style, and what Android has its own style. But
Right.
you have to admit, Apple is still catching up.
But at the end of the day, I think you will always say the style of Android is good, and I will always say the style of iOS is good. Right.
Maybe. I think that's a debate that can forever go on.
Because the reason I think is each of us are more adapted or engrossed by those styles that we are hesitant to change or adapt to a newer style.
That's true. Because what you see and what you are engaged with on a daily basis is something that you'll always say, no, this is the thing that is the best.
Exactly. So if tomorrow, let's say Apple scraps all of these and says that I'm going to put in Google's OS, that's something that's not at all acceptable, right?
Because Apple is identified with that particular style.
Exactly.
If that style goes away, then who knows why people will buy Apple.
It's all about the style. So do you think this relates to humans in any way?
It relates to humans in every possible way. Because when you look at someone, you get attracted to their personality, and that personality is their style in a way.
Hold on, personality and style, these are two different things, right?
Not really, because if you think about it, personality is something that how the person talks to you, how the person does something, what are the different values that the person has, different characteristics and all. So personality is like a superset. Style is a small element of personality. And style can be the way the person talks, the way the person dresses. Fashion style is something very big a term that people usually see. But it's somewhere small bits and pieces that are there in personality, right?
Right. So I think communication styles are again one more element or aspect of styles, right?
Absolutely, because we usually just talk about those shoes are good or that jacket is good or that t-shirt is good. But then when we are talking to each other, we don't really think about that, okay, communication also might have its own styles.
I think we should first define this term, communication style. Do you have anything on mind?
I don't have a scientific definition. But for me, what communication style for me is just the way a person communicates. I know there's a scientific definition also that Toastmasters teaches, but it's just a way that a person communicates. Like when I'm talking to you, I have a certain style. When you are talking to me, there's a certain style. And this is one-on-one. When I go on stage, I have a different style when the way I'm talking. The way you talk on a stage again differs. So that is style for me.
With all of this, I think I will write my own definition of communication styles. So I think communication style is the orientation or the way in which each and every organ of your body functions when you are in front of someone. What do you think about this definition?
That makes sense.
Because communication style does not mean only your vocal style or anything. It also matters with what you do with your eyes and your hands, right?
Every element of communication becomes your style.
Right,
what
exactly.
you're what you're basically trying to say, it's not just the words that you use that constitute your communication.
Exactly.
If you're using a presentation PowerPoint, what are the colors that you're using? That also becomes part of your style.
Hmm. Correct.
I've seen a lot of people use blue accents on their PPTs, or sometimes people use red accents on their PPTs.
Hmm.
Using an accent like that becomes a style.
Correct. And I'm obliged to talk about this concept here, the dark style of a device. Is that your favorite too? I think so.
Yep, everything dark. I
Everything
dig
dark.
black and red.
Oh, black and red, nice. I prefer black and white mostly because those two colors go well together, right?
So when I say black and red, I mean mostly black, but like accents of red.
Ah, okay. So for a fun fact, your mail is also black and white, right? It does not have the light background.
Which mail?
Your the mail app, whatever you use on your phone or your computer.
So I use Gmail on my phone. It has a dark mode. I use Outlook on laptop. That also has a dark mode. Whatever
Nice.
does not have a dark mode, I don't use.
That's nice to know.
What mail app do you use?
Same Outlook and Mail default iOS app, both with dark mode, obviously.
It still irritates me when I see websites which are still in like white background.
Exactly. Especially at night when you're trying to send a mail and suddenly have to refer something, that change in the style, I think, matters a lot.
That hurts my eyes a lot.
Exactly. So, would you say that black style is the best then?
Not really. I mean, I like it, but maybe not true for everyone. I know one person in my team who does not like black. That person wants white background,
Hmm.
black text, big text, full of contrast, and that person likes that.
Right.
Actually, we are digressing. So, coming back to our communication styles thing, what you brought out is very important. That we should not just think about content. We should also focus on what are the
Hmm.
different elements, how probably someone is using gestures or expressions, or how that person is
Hmm.
trying to weave with the story or try to tell you the information. Those things really matter, because at the end of the day, the whole point is that whatever you're trying to say should go across. It has so many times happened that people have come to me and had a discussion that probably this was not the best thing, and the only answer I have is, as long as you are able to achieve your goal, it does not matter what is the best style.
Hmm. Right. I can think of one quote which we hear very often. What you say matters, but how you say matters more.
That's true, because what you say can be modified in so many different ways and can just fit in different styles. For example, I'm having burger today. This is the statement. Now, the style, or a small element of the style, is how you're actually saying it. Are you excited? Are you low about it? So all that really starts communicating more about that one statement.
Right.
If I'm like, hey, I'm going to have a burger today, you obviously know, yeah, this person likes burger. Like, Ajay, I'm going to have a burger today. So those are small elements that just
Hmm.
enhance the message that you're trying to say. And then all this really falls into a style. Like, I really don't have that style where I would be over enthusiastic about something and I'll try to communicate.
Right. So, can we group all of these styles together into some buckets? Do you have any such bucket list?
So the buckets that I usually put styles into, and this is my bucket list, is someone who is persuasive, person who really focuses on persuading you on a point. The second that I have is a story style, where person depends on telling a story to communicate the message forward. The
Okay.
third is a comic style where the person tries to fit in a joke in everything that the person tries to do. Even in if it's a very like a serious situation, that person will try to fit in a joke. That is the third style that I have in mind. The fourth style that I usually put everything into is how the person has structured the information. And when I say structured, I mean like a bullet point structure, like one, and you have subpoints, two subpoints, three subpoints. So you're like
Something like
giving a
informative.
proper, like where you're writing
Mm.
notes or you're writing a document, you always do one dots, you write something, then you give some subpoints, two dots, something, and that's so these are broadly the four styles that I usually put everyone into. What are your buckets?
No, I think I agree with you. These would be the common set of styles, but I can relate this type of sentences also to this. For instance, if you are trying to say a sentence with a commanding mode, which is called, do you have the name of that? The
Assertive.
sentence type? Assertive. Yeah, if it's assertive, I think it falls under persuasive style, right?
Right,
So these do come hand in hand.
right. And if someone really, asks what is the best style to communicate, I will say whatever
Uh,
you're comfortable with.
and maybe more better answer would be depending on the situation or depending on the context.
That's true. I mean, you can't really go and crack a joke where when your company is going for a loss.
Exactly. And if you go for a stand-up comedy, you can't expect them to persuade you to buy a product. Right.
Yeah. So it's just I think what we are coming down to is the best style is if you can adapt to these individual or whatever different styles you can bucket it into, but you can adapt to these styles on the basis of the situation.
But I think we all should master all of these styles because each and everyone is important in some point of life, for sure.
That's what I'm trying to say. So if for me as an audience, if I like comic style and the person comes and talks to me in a persuasive style, I might not want to listen to that person fully, but that person has to recognize that I probably like
Hmm.
comic style and has to adapt to it. And what I was trying to say, if you have to adapt to a style, you have to be, if not a master, but at least decently good at all these styles. You just can't say this is
Exactly.
one style that I will choose for myself and this is the only style I'll ever use.
Exactly. As you mentioned, you can't be comical all the time. It's a very simple example.
Can't be comical all the time, can't be serious all the time.
Can't be serious all the time. Yes.
So, Ajay, why do you think all these styles and everything really matter? Why not just simply go and state a statement or tell out a information?
I think the reason is that you will need the style to achieve the objective that you're trying to do. For instance, you take an example where your boss is talking to a group of members or a team. If the boss is, let's say, going with a pleading style, then that communication is not at all going to get across the people because a boss has to be persuasive or influential. A boss
Right.
at the end of the day needs to get the work done. So his style cannot be pleading at any point of time,
Hmm.
which again boils down to the fact that it matters because of the objective that you're trying to accomplish.
I get it. Because in a team meeting, yes, you cannot use that. But probably when you are out for lunch, you can certainly change the way you're talking to people.
Right,
In that
right.
moment, you don't have to be assertive. It's just that you're having a good
Exactly.
time.
Exactly. Okay, I have a tricky question for you here.
Mm.
You know comical style, right?
Mm.
Where do you think comical style fits apart from a stand-up comedy?
I think it fits. We don't realize it, but it fits in our day to day communication because we are constantly cracking small jokes, always. And if you laugh at it, you call it a good joke. If you don't laugh at it, you call it a PJ. But I
Right,
feel
humor.
that is the thing that fits everywhere. And definitely, you walk into a room and where there is a lot of stress, you crack a joke, suddenly the mood is elevated. So
Excellent.
storytelling and comical is two styles that I feel that you have to learn no matter what. I mean, these are the two things you can't get by in your life. You have to learn to tell your story, and you have to learn to fit in or crack some jokes when you're having conversations with people.
Correct. I think these two are the most influential styles that will work across all set of people. Though persuasive or influential might be powerful, but these two will work or get the work done.
Right? These are like the basis of the other styles.
Exactly.
I'll tell you this. We have this new term coming up emerging from the data analytics field, which is called telling a story through data.
Yes.
I mean, data traditionally was always that bullet point sort of a structure approach,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
now people are trying to tell a story through that. So that in itself tells that storytelling is becoming that one leading thing that people really want to listen to. Because traditionally, also, like way back when we were cavemen, we would communicate through stories.
Correct. Correct.
I never saw, or I think no one has ever seen a cave painting that was 1, 2, 3, 4. It was always a story that is going on.
Correct. That is the style that has evolved across the ages and still stood its mark.
Yep. So, what do you think your communication style is? I mean, we just can't say one, but what do you think your style is?
My style would be storytelling, I think, with data points, whatever you just mentioned. Yeah, and also I'm trying to do comical style lately a lot. I'm trying because I want to get that element of humor in my conversations effectively, not just get it effectively. I want to get it, so I'm working a lot on that. And recently, I have heard a lot about how to get at it, and I would be happy to share that in the notes.
Yeah, that I think I am also trying my best, but sadly, I think I'm too scared, if I have to admit, because it's really difficult. But then, when I talk to my friends and everyone, they're like, "You are good, you make us laugh." And like, okay, one on one
Mm-hmm.
conversation, small jokes is a different thing. Doing it on stage is really different.
Right. I mean, we can also comment on the style of our own podcast as well. What style do you think this fits in?
Conversational. I think that's a
Conversation.
no brainer.
And we should try to pitch in the other elements as well.
I like the podcast being conversational because you will always see, you go to any other style, right? It will become more of we
Ah,
teaching.
correct, correct, correct. Preaching or interview. We don't want
Preaching,
that, obviously.
interview, teaching something, and I don't really want to do that. I like the conversation that we have, and I want to stick with that. I
Correct.
mean, let the podcast go a little longer, but if you're having fun in the conversation, that's what
Go
I
with it.
want. Do you appreciate that you have reached your style, or what do you think is the best learning aspect of style?
I think my base learning of what styles is or how I can communicate effectively is through a simple assessment that I have taken online. Um, it is called, I'm not sure of the name, but I think you might have also taken it, Standout Assessment. Yeah, that is the name, Standout Assessment. So it asks you a set of questions and it tells you what type of person you are. So this is not going to define your communication style, but it is going to define your personality, the Standout Assessment. And based on that, I think I try to etch my communication style around this assessment report. What I have got as a result for this assessment report is that I am a provider. So, provider means that I reach out and ask people something, or I listen to people first before I convey my message. So, putting all of these points together, I would say my style again is storytelling but with data points. The data points are the first part of the conversation. And what I have been working on recently is trying to make that a little more entertainable or a little more fun so that the conversation is engaging, which I'm so bad at and I have been working on it.
Yeah, not actually. I mean, if you were bad, we would not been having the podcast,
Ah,
honestly.
right, right. What do you think your style is?
I think my style is mostly persuasion or motivation through storytelling. I am an observer and I tend to observe a lot of things. Like sometimes I tend to observe to the limit that I'm also frustrated with myself. And then it just gets stored in my brain somewhere. And it's so annoying that if you ask me something, I'll not be able to answer, but that exact thing will just pop up into my brain in some random situation.
Right.
So what actually happens is during these conversations that we have, something or the other will just pop up into my mind. And I use that as a story and I try to convince or persuade or just tell a story.
Right. I think both of us relate to the Sherlock Holmes style, if I can call it,
Which is
which is getting facts and then commenting on based on those facts. Sherlock Holmes.
so Sherlock Holmes was like, so I don't know if you know this or not, but when everyone in my age group were like, I want to become an astronaut pilot, I was like, I want to become like Sherlock Holmes. I know the weirdest
Hmm.
thing probably I've ever heard, but he was like the first job profession that I wanted.
Okay.
So I have sort of not got into the profession, but I've sort of developed that deduction skills. And that is where
Nice.
the observation also comes in.
Nice. I'll give you a mystery to solve. Maybe you should try it out.
Oh man, I had this challenge or contest called Capture the Flag. It was a nightmare.
Hmm.
It is all about this that you're given some puzzles and you have to solve those puzzles. And those puzzles are actually technical computer based puzzles.
Oh my.
So I was spending hours and hours getting into disassembly and whatnot, computer stuff. But it was fun. Actually, the
Okay.
deduction part actually comes when you're trying to solve customer escalations and all. But you know, the best part of all this is, I mean, I don't feel happy that I have some deduction skills. I feel happy that I went through the entire thing and I picked up many more things along the way while I was trying to learn and discover this deduction skill. And I think I can say the same thing for when I was trying to understand that can I be a persuasive speaker. It started from debates, then it went into some advanced level debates called parliamentary debate, presidential debate, now in Toastmasters. So that entire journey, starting from a newsreader, thought speaker in school,
Hmm.
until now when I'm giving keynote addresses and all in at different companies, I really, and when I look back, I really see this full journey like a panorama in front of me, and I really can visualize these are the different elements that I picked up through the journey. Do you have like a this panorama in front of you whenever you think about how did you become a storyteller through data points?
No, I don't have that clear picture of the panorama. Maybe I will share it in the notes once I collate my thoughts together. I have bits and pieces, but I don't have a full story, as you have mentioned. I'll work on that.
But then, I always heard this, and one person I can clearly recall is someone by the name Aditya Maheshwaran. He had come for a Toastmasters conference, I think 2.5 years
Hmm.
back, and that is where he was talking about this concept that you first try to learn by copying someone else.
Hmm.
You do it not just in communication, you do it in when you're trying to learn the keyboard or the guitar, or you're trying to learn cooking or any form of art. You're trying to learn painting, sketching, whatever, you will always start with that this is a music, this is what you have to practice, or this is the recipe, this is what you have to make, or this is a sketch, you just have to replicate it. And
Yeah.
from there you then try to form your own style of doing things, your own style of music, your own style of food, your own style of sketching.
Right. And also, that matters a lot to communication. You see elegant speakers on the stage and you try to adopt them. Right.
Right. You see someone great who just came and you just try to copy that person, and after a couple of times you start branching out from that particular copy and you form your own style.
Exactly. Well, I think we've talked a lot about communication styles today. We hope you have enjoyed the episode, and do let us know what your style of communication is in the comments below. Leave us a review and get in touch with us on Twitter or Instagram. We'll be seeing you in another episode. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy.